Today we're going to see how powerful banned Modern cards are in 2025. This is the fourth part of our series, and we're going to continue with Once Upon a Time. This is an instant. If this is the first spell you've cast this game, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. That's a good price. And now look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature or a land card from among them and put them into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And I have to say, this is not just a problem in Modern. This is a problem in a lot of formats, both in Pioneer and the Historic format. So out of curiosity, does anyone in Commander play this card? It doesn't look like it has the upside because you can only have like one in your deck. So what's the odd that it's going to be the first spell in the turn? But at the same time, you still look at the top 5 cards at instant speed, so it's not that bad. Instant speed green impulse? Unbelievable. Is this a chat recommendation show? No, we're going through it alphabetically. But I highly encourage you to give me your input. How do you feel about Once Upon a Time? This, at the time that they banned it, it was seeing like an outrageous amount of play supporting both the Amulet Titan and the Tron decks, which both play with a lot of important mana, but also important creatures. So, you know, you gave you a little bit more consistency finding that primeval Titan. It also for the Tron decks, gave you more consistency finding the Urza land that you're missing, like Urza's Tower, amongst many of the other Urza lands. So, I mean, if you had like 2 Urza lands in your hand and you're missing one of them, well, you knew exactly what you're going to get with Once Upon a Time. Not to mention, you could actually delay playing this for quite a while. You go turn 1, Urza land, turn 2, like Urza's Power Plant, Urza's Mine on turn 2. Then, for your first spell, because you haven't played any spells yet, you've only played lands. Spells and playing lands are 2 different things. Then on like turn 3, after you've made a bunch of after you've drawn a bunch of cards, maximize your chances of finding the last Urza land with Once Upon a Time. So it gave absolute gross consistency to those decks. But it's legal in Legacy. But you know, also at the same time, Legacy is a format with Wasteland. I watch Legacy videos sometimes, and I see this occasionally. Yes, it is still a Legacy playable card, but I mean, it's like a more broken format over there, so they care a whole lot less. I mean, they care about things, but they care about it less. But like again, this facilitated a lot of big mana decks. And the big mana decks in Legacy have more pressure put on them because thanks to cards like Wasteland, sometimes back to basics, but not really. But it is mostly a Wasteland format. I remember it as if it was yesterday in your banned green Modern cards. It costs 0 mana. Zero mana! That is true. Like, it's no surprise every single time a card is played for free that it's a problem for basically any format. And it just gets worse if it's for Standard or for Pioneer, because they have like very few things to do for free. But Modern, well, I don't know what's gonna happen to Modern. Modern is getting mutated these days. We've got a lot of turn 2 combo decks, we have turn 3 combo decks, of course, but that's just the standard. We used to slow the format down to turn 4. That like just doesn't even matter anymore. So does this matter? Is it making the Amulet Titan a little bit more consistent? And it's still on top. Amulet Titan's still on top. But now we don't have Tron. Tron is gone. But now we have these Eldrazi decks. The Eldrazi decks are super popular. And they play also with fast mana, which you can go grab. Or you can go consistently find your Sowing Miko spawn. Like, that's the thing. You can't brick with this card. Reveal a creature or a land card. What are the odds you're going to miss with one of those? Pabno says, like, starting with an 11-card hand with 4 cards to return for a mulligan. That's also very true. You nailed it, Pabno. So your mulligans are way better, or your range of hands that you can keep are way stronger. Because if you have a Once Upon a Time in your hand, you know that it's going to help you in some capacity. It basically is going to be a land. Like let's say you're a land short or a creature short. Well, Once Upon a Time can be one or either of those things. First turn tapped, try land. Second turn, just don't even pay mana for this damn thing. Yes, exactly. And you can still play a card on the same turn. Still do something. Not to mention, like, it's 2 mana. So is that 0 mana, which is an amazing price, or 2 mana, which is still a fantastic price? Like, there was no downside to this thing. It was upside as a 2 mana impulse, and by impulse, I mean this card. So this was classically a very strong Magic the Gathering card, which is now modern legal, a little beyond the format at the moment, but still, it was classically a strong card. 2 mana instant, look at the top 4 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. It was a very strong competitive card for a very large range of Magic's history, and they basically printed it with the clause that you could also play for free if it was your first spell played. So it was basically a similar card with massive upside. So what was the downside to this thing? Well, you can only find creatures or lands. Oh no! What are we gonna do? We're gonna be starving. We're gonna have to go to that soup kitchen for all those Eldrazi and the Eldrazi and the Amulet decks. Eldrazi have their own version of Once Upon a Time, so they'd become even more consistent. They are super consistent as it is. It's true. So, I mean, that was one big gripe I had with, what's it called? What is that I know you're talking about. It's the Eldrazi that you reveal at the start of the game, and you can look X deep into your deck for, I think, a land or an Eldrazi card. Maybe it was a colorless card in general. Eldrazi... I can't remember the card. Someone will let us know in chat. Odds are that I'll miss a critter or a land with me pretty good. Would you play Storm rated Lex? Are you a Storm player? There's all instants and sorceries for all day and artifacts. The Weakest Union says, would it be fair if it cost double, making an amazing turn 0 but very mid to bad everywhere else? I think it has to be a lot more mana. Again, like the decks that play this, they have a lot of mana. They have like they're unloading 7, 8, 10 mana at a time. You know what I mean? So, but maybe that would do it. Maybe it's very funny. It's the most broken when it's early, which is the most sensitive portion of the game. But it's like slightly fair in the later portion of the game. Oh yeah, the Devourer. I know it. Yeah, the Devourer of Destiny. You can reveal this card from your hand, card from your opening hand. If you do at the beginning of your first upkeep, look at the top 4 cards of your library. Put one of those cards back on top of your library. At least it doesn't put it into your hand. But it was very similar to this. And again, giving it to the big mana decks, as if we want them to have that consistency. When top-down design gets broken. The irony is that cards like Impulse see play in Pauper because of how deep it finds. And cantrips are more powerful in Pauper, partially, I think, because the power level of the format is like a lot weaker, so if there's any powerful cards, you want to find them more consistently. Honestly, Pauper is a pretty cool format. It is a very powerful format of many tiny commons. Imagine if you can cast it for free in Pauper. There is well, I mean, a lot of free cards got banned in Pauper. Days, gosh. Anyway, Once Upon a Time, I think... okay, now the question is how powerful is it today? Yeah, how powerful is this card today? I'd be inclined to say that it's just as powerful as it was before, but I'm not entirely sure. I would say it is still super powerful. I would, especially since like the top decks are still Amulet and Eldrazi. Maybe not Tron, but Eldrazi, and they would love to play with this card. They would love it. Absolutely love it. Okay, next. We're gonna move on to this card. I don't understand why this card is banned. For the entire the whole decade that I've been playing Modern, more than a decade at this point, I am so puzzled why Ponder, a blue sorcery, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put them back in any order, then shuffle and draw a card. Why the hell is this card banned? And some people say, well, people take a long time making their decisions. I don't see the difference between this and Serum Visions. Now, okay, the difference between this and Serum Visions, you have to shuffle your deck, but like decision making shouldn't change by too much. Most of the decisions are going to be like, okay, I ponder, I need this card, I put this on top, I'm going to fetch the rest of it later. It's the shuffle part. That we have shuffling in Legacy. It's not that big of a deal. Like, it's annoying, but power level wise, like this is banned for power level, not for wasting time. A lot of people tell me, oh, it's banned for wasting time. It's banned for power level. Serum Visions used to be on the, so no, not Serum Visions. Is it Serum Visions? I'm getting all my visions mixed up. No, what's the other one? What's it? Not Serum Visions. Something Visions? What's the other cantrip for a blue? I don't play the damn thing. Fetch lands are free shuffles? Absolutely. Preordain. That's the card I was thinking of. Yeah, Preordain. So Preordain has less decision making, but still decision making. You scry 2, you want to keep one of those cards or both of those cards on top. How are you going to stack them? And then you draw a card. No shuffling, I understand that. But they took Preordain off the ban list to help the blue decks. And I think we can have Ponder. Like, I don't know why everyone's so scared of these cantrips. I think originally they were banned because Blue-Red Storm was a really powerful deck back in like 2013, 2014. Not a whole lot of answers to it. Now there are millions of answers to this deck. Like, Blue-Red Storm is not even a thing. Now it's Mono-Red Storm. Do you think if we unban Ponder that they're going to actually start splashing blue again? I don't even think so. As a Yu-Gi-Oh player, I just don't get it. I would figure maybe you would get it a little bit more. Because I hear in Yu-Gi-Oh card draw is like obscenely broken. Pot agreed. Draw 2 cards for nothing. I mean, that'd be broken in Modern. That'd be broken in Magic too. Scry is basically like shuffling. Bigger weakness is looking 1 card less deep. Of course, yeah, it's a worse card than Ponder. There's no debate around that. In Legacy, they're only going to be playing with Ponder and Brainstorm. You know, screw the other cantrips because they don't get there. Spoiler alert, they aren't as powerful as the BS cards being printed right now. And I have to say, the threat is much stronger than the card that looks for the threat these days. Playing cantrips is a cost. Spending 1 mana and doing nothing. Okay, if someone plays turn 1 Ragavan, do you feel like on your turn you're going to play turn 1 Ponder? Probably not. Like, probably not. You probably want to deal with that Ragavan immediately. I have to admit, you know, Ponder feels a little awkward when your opponent is empty-handed. Sorry, when we get to the late game and then they have nothing on the board and they start pondering, they can start digging for the important threats to take over the game. But still, it's there's an opportunity cost of playing Ponder. Sometimes you have to. There's a lot of hands that you keep because you have Ponder, and then you can't even address that turn 1 Ragavan or the turn 1 Oscillate Pride or the turn 1 anything. So you play Ponder, and then you get extremely run over by your opponent's turn 2 play. I see you got the comments chat thing off the screen. I don't know how I enabled that. I don't know how to get it back. I would love to have it back. Yeah, where did it go? You're completely right. Yeah, I don't know how to get it back. If I find out, I'm gonna bring it back. I liked it. Yeah, we used to have the chat for one show down here. That was so cool. I enabled that by accident. Okay, the weakest union says it just wins on the spot by triggering post-traumatic stress disorder or something. What, maybe? I mean, like, there's a lot of bleed between Legacy and Modern players. I don't think it'd be that big of a deal. In Standard, the cantrips all look 1 card deep and they feel so much weaker. Oh yeah, because Standard right now is so aggressive. It's just so aggro right now. So but of course, in the right decks, like the blue-red cutter decks, you need these cantrips so you can enable the cutter, so you get your own aggro game on. But I mean, that's the opportunity cost. I think the format is aggressive enough that Ponder can just come off the ban list. And you know, I've been calling for this for forever. Even when Storm was legal, I really don't see the big deal about this. I mean, Legacy players, like, do we really care all that much about Ponder and Brainstorm? No, I understand. Brainstorm's a bit of a different deal, okay? Brainstorm, you draw 3, put 2 cards back. It is basically Ancestral Recall. Not Ponder. It's not the same. In my opinion. Ponder Storm Traumatic Syndrome. Ponder Stress Traumatic Syndrome. Is there a more powerful than Scry 3 than draw a card? Yeah, the most powerful would be well, Most powerful is Ancestral Recall. That is the holy god of cantrips. That's it, right here. This is our pot of greed. A blue instant. Target player draws 3 cards. Now, the second best card, also heavily banned, or not banned, I should say restricted. Oh, it's banned in Historic, is Brainstorm. Blue instant, draw 3, then put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library in any order. So what this does is it lets you take garbage cards from your hand, put on top of your deck, and then you can shuffle them away. You can't do that with Ponder. The best you can do is you only get to keep 1 good card on top, and then you can shuffle them away, or you can wait periodically every single turn to draw those good cards that you put on top, but you're not allowed to immediately have them in your hand. So it's miles different in power level. It's good that cantrips aren't that good, otherwise Corey would never brick. I sense some sarcasm in that. Just notice there is a giant face in the background of Ponder. Yeah, there's an elvish face over there. Some sort of face. I actually thought the art was worse when I noticed the face. I was like, not thrilled about this whoever this is over there. Outside of that, I really like this Moon Ponder art. DLA, it's 1 mana, look at 3 cards when most 1 mana draw spells only deal with 2 cards at a time. Most. But we're playing with Modern here. This is a powerful format, all right? This is the format for adults. All right, we're not babying ourselves around with like opt, and consider and stuff like that. We should be able to play with the good cards. And I think this is a good, powerful card. And I don't think it's obscene. I really don't think it's obscene. You could unban this thing tomorrow, and probably the Jeskai control decks are still unplayable. Or they probably need the help at the moment. Right now, control is dead. It's just dead. Now, don't get me wrong. Murktide's going to play this card. Prowess is going to play this card. Everyone's going to play this card. But still, it doesn't matter. Why did you point out that face? Well, I didn't. The chat did. It was chat's fault. Brainstorm is draw 3, fetch. You're supposed to put 2 cards back, Mikey J. 2 cards back. That's how Mikey J does it, I guess. Draw 3 cards, fetch. You didn't see anything. It's a very Bertoncini move. Damn, never noticed the face before. Yeah, this hidden Easter egg. Strange what we find in a card that we've seen a million times. How did we get to part 4 in the series? According to Scryfall, there are only 52 cards that are banned in Modern. We have a nice long discussion about every single card. Aren't we enjoying the discussion? Unban is sorcery speed. I'm 100% with you, Slim. Although this is not a ban or unban show. This is how powerful is that? And I never thought this card was all that powerful. I don't think it was beyond the power level of the format. I think it's definitely within the power level of the format. Brainstorm was to hide your relevant cards from Grief/Thoughtseize. It's big tech. Although it's Grief is banned at this point. Only powerful because it allows you to shuffle and potentially get better draws. Oh, absolutely. Is it me or is that face John Travolta from Pulp Fiction? It can be whatever you want it to be. All right, we're going to move. I think Ponder, great card. Not too powerful. Okay, here's a debatable card. Uh-oh. Don't do that to me, Scryfall. No! Scryfall is currently offline from... No, don't do that! Okay, there's a good... Okay, here's the good news, chat. Here's the good news. I don't even need this. Okay, hold on. I just need to... Let's look up... Punishing Fire. Is there another? Okay. I got something. I got something here. Oh, it's too big. Okay, take all my cookies. Oh, it works. Where am I? I'm on Gatherer? Strange. Okay, now we're going to talk about Punishing Fire. Does that work? It works perfectly. Or almost perfectly. It's a little cut off. That's okay. We can live with that. Wow, I can't believe Scryfall's offline. We just scry 0. Okay, 2 mana, instant. Punishing Fire deals 2 damage to target creature or player. Whenever an opponent gains life, you may pay a red. If you do, return Punishing Fire from your graveyard to your hand. This is... You know, this is the Lurrus of the past for the most part. It's funny, MTG Gather just updated, so it's like Scryfall. Oh, I see. They're all doing it at the same time. Anyway, so Punishing Fire... It was banned because it was supposed to be too oppressive to the creature-based decks. Although, to be honest, the creature-based decks, they're also oppressed at the moment. They're almost all dead. The only creature-based deck that's really making a really big scene is Boros Energy, for the most part. I would say this is fine, but it probably just punishes creature decks too much. Okay, so here's the counter-argument. As a person who actually plays a creature-based deck, who would get crushed by this thing. The counter-argument is that they're already dead. Like, seriously. They're all dead. What do you think? Elves are coming back? Goblins? Death and Tax? They're gone. Like, and they're not... the format is so oppressive to creature-based decks. So oppressive. We're talking Wrenn and Six. We're talking Bowmasters. We're talking Lava Dart. We're talking the most mana-efficient 1-mana removal spells in Galvanic Discharge, Fatal Push, that white 1-mana Prison card. Like, the creature-based decks, they are under so much pressure, beyond, like, more pressure than ever before. I don't know if this would even matter at this point. Who's gonna play this? Because remember, you have... the whole synergy, whenever an opponent gains life, you can pay a red. You have to play this with Grove of the Burn Willows. Let's get Grove of the Burn Willows. This is a land, tap for a colorless, tap, add a green or a red. Each opponent gains 1 life. All right, so we gained a life. That triggers Punishing Fire. When it triggers Punishing Fire, they can pay a red. They can bring Punishing Fire back. But it pushes Jund way too much. Jund is dead. Jund is stone dead. I understand those arguments. Like, it's going to push... Like, if anything, it will turn it from a 0%er deck to, like, a 1% deck. Maybe. Like, maybe. By the way, this is pretty clunky. You look at the threats in the metagame right now. What is this going to do to Psychic Frog? What is this going to do even against Orcish Bowmasters? Like, the threats are diversified. What is it going to do versus Oculus? Versus Murktide? You better get it off fast and real quick against Energy, because they diversify their threats super fast. And if you spend 2 mana to kill a Ragavan, you're probably too late. Probably too late. Get the real Grove on the screen. I don't know what the real Grove is. I can't navigate Gather so well. I don't mind that Grove. It's like a Grove of the future from a future set. It'd be fun to play this against Energy. What is it gonna do versus Flage? What are you gonna use it for against, like, Fable the Mirror Breaker? Okay, you kill the Goblin token. They're still getting value otherwise with that card. It'll make dead decks deader for the most part. Now you could say, how does this help the format? Does this help Modern in any way? Probably not. But frankly, like, as far as I'm concerned, it's so hostile to creature decks. Like, it's just no point playing any card that has 1 toughness. Even 2 toughness is, like, under a lot of stress at the moment, because Orcish Bowmasters can basically kill anything with 2 toughness. Orcish Bowmasters enters the battlefield, ping you for 1, block with the Orc army. Completely pointless. What is this going to do versus Territorial Kavu? Wild Nacatl? Scion of Draco? So basically, like, all the creatures that see play, like, I would say, like, 90% of the creatures that see play, this is either not going to kill them, or it'll only kill half the threat. And it's super clunky. Remember, you're basically spending 3 mana to play this card. Alice says, this can be unbanned in my opinion. I think a lot of people thought it could be unbanned for a long time. I like that Grove too. Lots of Grave Hate in 2025. Anyway, Cauldron, Vacuum. We've always had a lot of Grave Hate, but remember, they can activate this in response to the Grave Hate, so it can be a little tricky at times, especially if your Grave Hate is on the battlefield. ESMC says could allow for frequent early removal, but its trigger is too situational to be powerful, even enough for a ban. The Ghost of Thomas Jenkins says, all joking aside, it would see some play, but it wouldn't take over or anything. And Beanpot says, might bring Burn back. Burn's already back, sort of. It's not in a big way, which is to say Burn is in a really bad spot. I honestly don't think Burn would play this, because it was never played in... It's just not mana efficient enough. It's too slow. Maybe, I don't know, maybe in the sideboard. But it's harder to play. It's harder to justify at Naya these days if you want to play the Grove. Because you have to build a mana base mostly for Boros, because the Boros cards are the best. I think the only argument against this card today is that it has a very Lurrus feel to it. And by Lurrus, like, you know, it's got this repetitiveness. Like, the annoying thing about Lurrus is like, Lurrus, crack my bauble. Oh, play it back again for free. Crack it again. Play my creature. Oh, it dies. I bring it back. And Punishing Fire is going to be very similar. It just keeps coming back. So this is a really repetitive play pattern that's also very frustrating to lose to. But we do have, like, so many more answers to cards like this. Like, even the existence of Harbinger of the Seas versus a deck that has to play with a non-basic land like Grove of the Burnwillows would just shut this thing off. Well, I don't know, sort of shut it off. Maybe it's not a perfect example because Punishing Fire can kill the 2/2. So if they just have even a basic mountain, that would be enough. But we have more non-basic land hate than we did before. And again, most of the threats in the format don't die to Punishing Fire, so there's like almost no point in playing it. Like, why would you play Punishing Fire when most of the big threats are like 3 toughness and higher for the most part? This card would be rejected for printing by R&D nowadays for being too weak. Maybe. I think it could see play in Standard or something. I played against Lurrus Unlimited recently. It was so awful. I'm very sorry. Sorry for your experience, Pabno. I had to play a year against Lurrus. It was miserable. Even longer in some other formats. It took so long to ban Lurrus in all the formats. It was a sneaky card. It was sneaky powerful. Didn't look like much, but you play against it enough, you realize how unbelievable. You realize how much of a Punishing Fire that card was. Okay, so I am definitely going to be in the camp. I think this is below the power level of Modern at this point. I think Modern is way more powerful than this card. And I think if you play Punishing Fire in your deck, you're going to get stomped. You're just going to get stomped badly by the entire metagame. You're either going to be up against a creature deck with creatures that you can't kill, or you're going to be up versus a combo deck, and this card's going to look super silly. Not to mention, I don't even know what deck you're playing that you're giving somebody life with Grove of the Burnwillows to enable this damn thing. Did anyone see the new Tezzeret? We'll talk about that in the future, but not this show. This is a Modern show. And with that, what's going on here? Oh, got my music a little mixed up. We got it. Okay, so Punishing Fire. It's not so punishing today. And we're going to thank our sponsor today, FusionGamingOnline.com. We're going to look at more Modern cards, see if they're powerful in 2025. But we got to thank our sponsor. I love my sponsor, FusionGamingOnline.com. To buy all my Magic cards, I've been building my new Legacy deck with FusionGamingOnline.com. And also, don't forget, you can get all your Modern cards. Also, maybe speculate on some banned Modern cards. They might come off that ban list. They're doing that. The R&D team right now, they're sniffing out cards that they can unban. They want to unban. I mean, they took all the big ones off. Opal, Faithless Looting, Splinter Twin. You think they can't take Punishing Fire off the ban list? You think again. And you can get them at FusionGamingOnline.com. And if they aren't cheap enough for you, use coupon code Nikachu for an extra 5% off all your purchases. We're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online. Ability to play any deck, any format you want. And thankfully, I mean, thanks to Mana Traders, I mean, you can play stuff like Legacy. When there's a Legacy event, there's a Pauper event coming up, playtest Pauper with Mana Traders. You can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 40% cash back on your 3rd month subscription using coupon code Nikachu_ OWS. OWS reminds me of owl. I don't know why. It looks close. All right, next. Okay, what's in? Are you back? Are we online? We're not online. Wow. I'm glad this is happening on a day like today where... Well, I guess I could look up cards up here. Okay, what's it? Gather is my backup Scryfall. Rite of Flame. Is this a white bordered card? This looks heinous. I don't like it. It scares me. Where did this come from? Oh, Mystery Booster. A red sorcery. Add red, then add red for each card named Rite of Flame in each graveyard. Okay, I don't know what everyone else thinks. I think it's broken. I think this is heinous. Ad time. You like to mention the ad time. Can we have a show about cards that are retrained, not reprinted versions of... Not reprinted versions of other cards? I have no idea what you mean. You have to let me know in the Discord. My theory for semi-eternal formats: Pioneer, no fetch lands; Modern, no few fast mana. That's sort of how it is. Although did they take off any fast mana recently? Maybe not. The point of Modern, at least the point that it used to be, is that this is a turn 4 format. So people aren't supposed to win so consistently on turn 3. Certainly not supposed to win on turn 2. That's eroding away. We now have more turn 2 deck, like Underworld. I mean, I understand the Underworld Breach deck got banned. That was a semi-consistent turn 2 deck. Neoform is coming into prominence. That's a turn 2 deck. We have a lot of turn 3 decks nowadays. So it's like it doesn't... Is Modern a turn 4 format? Like, is it? Like, the things that made Modern are not even, like, really applicable anymore. Yeah, they unbanned Opal, so now we still have a lot of fast kills from the decks that can abuse it. So the deck is like, I like how Yu-Gi-Oh! Obnoxious Celtic Guard was a retrained version of Celtic Guardian. Can't think of any MTG examples at the moment. They probably never use the same name, or very few cases they would use the same name, Toilet Duck. Usually if they fix a card, it has a completely different name. Yeah, I think Toilet Duck is referring to fixed versions of cards. Okay, the great goes to Thomas Jenkins, says, I can see Right being in an issue even for years to come. Now, mind you, the card's legal in Legacy. Now, the single big difference between Modern and Legacy is they have access to Force of Will. But we got access to Flare of Denial. We got access to Force of Negation. They're not that bad. They're not that bad. Now, Storm is one of the best decks in Modern at the moment. It's a top tier deck. This could push it to, like... Oh, this would create turn 1 wins. Now that I think about it. Like, they're already winning on turn 2, actually, with Storm. If they go Ritual into a Ruby... and you don't have any interaction, and they have 1 mana floating to go Manamorphose and basically go off, you're dead. I've died on turn 2 many times. This actually would accelerate it, because they could go turn 1 Rite of Flame into a Ritual, into Ral or a Ruby, and then just go off. I mean, Standard is basically a turn 3 format now. Yeah, what's happening to this game? It even has a fairly consistent turn 2 kill deck. That's a bit extreme. And the fact there is a whiteboarder version is enough to keep this one banned. So probably cards that are fixed. Oh, okay. Well, I understand. We've done fixed cards shows. Maybe we can do another one. Christopher B, I can't believe I was even batty enough to invent this, but an instant and with retrace. How much Findhorn pollen was I on? What the hell are you talking about? So Rite of Flame would go probably just straight. It has 1 deck. It would just be the Ruby Storm deck. I think probably it would contribute to more turn 1 wins. We'd go from consistently turn 3, sometimes turn 2, to like turn 1. Nikachu is fixed. He used to be broken before he found us. Ah, I need you guys so much. Belcher Storm would go off too. You know what? I bet against it. I think Belcher is a much more powerful, consistent deck because it's blue. I just think that. I think when you play the red version, it can't. It doesn't have the tools to fight the hate, whereas the blue version does. It has Flare of Denial. They have access to Flare of Denial. They have access to like Sink Into Stupor to bounce hate cards that are on the battlefield. So it's a way more versatile deck. Whereas the red-green version of Belcher is just glass cannon. It's like, okay, I'm going to try to combo off. If you can do anything, I'm dead. If you can't do anything, I win. So, but I mean, it would be a variation. It would be a variant. But I just think Belcher being in red, or in the red-green shell, it's just super high risk, high reward. I just think the turn 1 potential of mono red is too strong to decline. It's possible. It's possible. But like that's the same mentality as the Neo brand players, and they get just crushed by counter magic, free counter magic, Flare of Denial, or Force Negation. Of course, Flare of Denial only works if they're on the play and they have a 1-drop. Okay, I'd be inclined to say that this is too powerful for modern, because of the turn 1 the more consistent turn 1, turn 2 potential. But I don't even know what the philosophy of modern is anymore. Like, it's just being eroded away. It's not what it used to be, that's for sure. Not what it used to be. Okay, next up. Okay, we'll look at this one. Second Sunrise. How do we feel about this card? Let's even just on power level, it was a pretty strong card back then, but it got banned because it wasted too much time. 3-mana instant. Each player returns to play all artifact, creature, enchantment, and land cards that were put into the graveyard from play this turn. The whole idea with this deck is you play a bunch of artifacts that create mana, float the mana, crack the egg cards, which draw you cards. They go to the graveyard, which also give you the mana, like, you know, Chromatic Sphere, Chromatic Star. You play Second Sunrise, all those cards come back, and you can recrack them to draw more cards, but it's a huge time waster in paper. Where does one go for vintage tournaments? They very rarely occur, but you can play them very regularly on Magic Online, that's for sure. They just had a big one in New York, actually, just the other weekend. You know who would I follow? Does anyone know the Vintage Master? I think his name is Justin. Turn 1. Oh, what is this guy called? I am actually level 1. I would follow this player on Twitter, and they'll let you always know whenever a big vintage event is happening. Again, that is I am actually LVL1, the number 1. We talked about it on the Could Be reprint show. Yeah. Well, I mean, they don't need to reprint it to unban it, that's for sure. I'm surprised they haven't print as a free spell card. That'd be crazy. It's already bad enough as a 3-mana card. Like, they made this card, there was already a version of this still in play, or still legal, and it's 4 mana. They just got rid of the consistency of the deck, so it just doesn't see play. But anyway, the history, the lore of this card is the players took so damn long to resolve their winning turn that they banned this card. It was a good deck. It was a fine deck. It was not an overpowering combo deck. But what happened is, like, the rules are in a tournament. Everyone has 50 minutes to complete their match. But when the 50-minute timer hits, 5 additional turns with no time limit are given to each player. So let's say it's my turn and the time limit has been hit in the round. Then starting with my opponent's next turn, we'll play 5 additional turns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that was the problem, is that if you had to take like 30 or 40 minutes to resolve and win with your Second Sunrise, you just extended the tournament every damn round and made every round like 2 hours long. And at the end of the day, people are going home at like 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning. It was just obscene. It was a very, very, very bad deck for tournaments. Not to mention, like, not everyone picking up the deck is so experienced with it that they can like go through the motions super fast, but they're fast enough to not get slow play warnings from the judges. I feel like this is a ticking time bomb towards an awful play experience. Oh, absolutely. Even if it isn't playable right now. Okay, unbanned in tournaments with chess clocks. They would lose. They would lose horribly. It feels okay purely in terms of power level. Yeah, it's basically. So are we skipping all the artifact lands? We mentioned the artifact lands. Sorry, I think we mentioned the Seat of Synod in an earlier one. We can go about it again. I'm pretty sure that we talked about that in one of the earlier shows. We can go back to the Seat of Synod if you want. Bryce says it's trash. Okay, so we'll still agree that this card is not that powerful for the format, but it's a big time waster, so they're never going to unban the thing. But it's honestly not that powerful. But it wasn't banned based on power level in the first place. Okay, anyone have some mention of Seat of Synod? Oops, Seat of... Is it the... Seat of the Synod? There we go. Because I thought we talked about this card, and it was like the only artifact land that it's the most powerful artifact land because it's blue. It has synergy with Emery, Thought Monitor, Thought Cast. I would say it's not the only powerful artifact land. I think the red one would be next in line, but it is the most powerful one. And then the white, green, and black ones, they're just trash. No one would play those cards. We talked about the Mirrodin cards. Oh, okay. Maybe we didn't talk about Seat of Synod. I'm blurring my streams. I'm blurring the streams together. So many banned cards in Mirrodin. Yeah, especially if you count the artifact lands. Per turn, time limits don't help very much in situations where players can interrupt each other's turns. I feel Excessus is. I feel like it would be playable but fair. Oh, okay, 100% this would see play. I'm not even doubting that. Now, when people say they'll fill their entire deck with the artifact lands, like, oh, if you unban all 5, their Affinity will play all of them and they'll just go ham. That is stupid. They're not going to do that. They will play 1. Just 1. I think they have enough room that they could play 4 of these, and they wouldn't care about the rest of them because the utility of all the other cards are still really important. But Seat of Synod is it's the most contentious. You could get easily turn 1 Emerys because you can just go turn 1 Seat of Synod, then go like Mox Opal, Mox Opal, Mishra's Bauble, any of those 0 drops, and then just play Emery, and boom, you got yourself a turn 1 Emery, which would probably be pretty frustrating, but good. Darksteel Citadel isn't banned. Yeah, Darksteel Citadel isn't banned, and is barely played in these affinity decks. I have taken the stance for forever that these look stupid. These look like the biggest absolute joke on the ban list. It's the absolute biggest joke. Someone out there is laughing. I don't know what it's like faithless looting almost. If they unbanned it, people will try playing it and then it'll just be gone. Like no one will play this card at all. Yeah, Meltdown for 0. GG artifact lands. I don't even know what they're risking unbanning this. What, like the artifact decks are going to take over? Like it's not the artifact, like it's not going to, traditional artifact decks are not going to take over. And they're not going to replace their really good lands with a bunch of artifact lands, but they will play this one. Like, I think if you build an artifact-based deck, you can squeeze, like, almost either a playset or almost a playset of one of these. Pabno says, the part that got these banned is mostly just having too many good artifact lands. Well, I mean, you have to go back into the history of Modern. Affinity was a really good deck in the earlier days of Modern, 2013, 2014. It was like one of the pillars. You know, that's why people are just... They're praising the return of Mox Opal. They're trying to bring back those glory days, even though those affinity decks like are basically smashed to hell, and they just can't compete with the power level of today. Mox Opal is still a super powerful card, but affinity is not. So give them this too. I don't care. Give it to them. Urza Saga decks would probably play this. Yeah, they will. I mean, but you mentioned Urza Saga. Okay, so how many lands are you gonna play? Like, can we, maybe we can go get let's go look up an affinity deck, you know? Okay, where is the closest affinity deck? Which is not even, okay, there we go. Let's look at the lands. Let's look at that mana basis. What are you gonna remove? Okay, we got Urza Saga. You gonna replace that? No, you're not gonna replace that. That's gonna stay. The Spire of Industry. A land, tap for a colorless or tap, pay 1 life, add 1 mana of any color, activate if you control an artifact. Now, one of the main powers of these affinity decks is that they have access to all 5 colors in the sideboard, if necessary. Things like Dispatch, Wear and Tear, Whip Flare, Portable Hole. So this is very important mana fixing that Affinity has always played for the history of Affinity. Are you going to replace this with your Seed of Sidnod? No. Seachrome Coast. Maybe. Maybe that can be dumped for like an artifact land. Razor Tide Bridge, an indestructible artifact land that, like, I think like this is like the strongest candidate to get axed. But like, again, this is for mana consistency. Or maybe it would just be Darksteel Citadel. They would just get rid of this one. So you can get rid of 2 Darksteel Citadels. That's a pretty clean replacement for Seed of Sidnod. Probably not the island, but maybe the island. But you see how tight it is. Like, it's super tight. Like, they have these lands for mana fixing. And like, I don't think they're going to get rid of it. I don't think they can afford to get rid of their mana fixing. Unless they want to be a monocolor deck. Unban these, reban Opal. I would be so in for that trade. I don't think anyone else would, though. Although I do hear people, they're like, Opal is fine. The artifact lands are busted. Like, what is wrong with you? Were you dropped down the stairs too many times when you were a kid? Maybe once, okay, Toilet Duck says, maybe once Modern Horizon 7 comes around, we can put these in a deck with Gizmo's Fabricator or something. It's not even close to Cloud Post. Well, it's not even the same deck. DLA. Honestly, Karn is the only true problem. Meltdown is good, but usually is a sideboard card. Oh yeah, also, you know, Karn the Great Creator would shut these things down. You also have Collector Oof, shut the mana base down. There's like more answers than ever to this stuff. Beanpaw says Seachrome Coast is important for turn 1 portable hole. Oh, good call. Very good call. It's hard. You know, you unban all the artifact lands and tell the affinity player, all right, you have access to all of these. What are you going to do with them? I think this would see play. It would but maybe it only replaces the two lands. The 2 Darksteel Citadels, that maybe that's all they can change. Maybe the island, maybe the Otawara. If they want to get on the route of greed, may the greed be with you. Okay, so anyway, I think Seed of Synod is garbage. Garbage is a strong word. I have never thought that this was too powerful for a modern. Never, even when Affinity was as powerful as it was. Because they still depended on all their utility lands. All of them. Every single one. All right, next up. We're going to look at... This is an... Are we back here? We are back! Scryfall is online. Seething Song. It's a strong card. It's a 3-mana instant. Add 5 red. How do we feel about this card? Now, I don't know, if someone wins on turn 3, is that, like, too soon? Is that too broken? At the same time, you could win on turn 2 by going turn 2, like, Ritual into a 3-mana, then play Seething Song, and then go for the win. Excesta says, this is still a danger. Strong but clunky. You know, it might be less clunky than you think. There's a lot of Belcher decks played this card to great success. Oh, no, maybe I'm thinking of the other ritual. There's like a 4-mana ritual. Rome says, even if Affinity was the thing, would you need only the blue band? No, not yet. They can have the blue one. It's okay. They can have the blue one. The point is that they can't play all of them. And if they play one, they're only going to play a few at best. In my opinion. In my opinion. Okay, B lore. It's definitely too broken. Only standard is allowed to win on turn 2. You're funny. That was a good one. The Ghost of Thomas Jenks says that's definitely an excess amount of mana. It is a lot of mana. Perfectly legal in Legacy, though. Is it broken on Storm decks? So the fear is that it will create more turn 2 wins. Now, isn't that big of a deal today? Like, we have so many answers. I mean, I do try to think about, like, what answers do we have on the draw versus Storm? Let's say you're on the draw, and your opponent is threatening to win the game on turn 2. What are the answers? Because I don't think Vexing Bauble does anything. So Vexing Bauble doesn't do anything. Maybe Grafdigger's Cage can interact a little bit against a Storm deck. Force Negation still works. Rodham says, with VV now, its Song is even more dangerous now. Oh, we'll see. Fluster Storm against red? Maybe that works. Yeah, maybe that works versus red. I'd be a little concerned that they would create a gigantic board that they could just combo off next turn, though. That would be my concern. Unbanned for the artwork. It's great. It's not bad. Okay, Desperate Ritual, Seething Song. No, you just go Desperate. Oh. What's the you just need one, right? Desperate Ritual. That's a 3 mana. Yeah, 2 mana. So you go Desperate Ritual into Seething Song, Stormscale Scion, and that's even without Ral or Ruby. It's possible. So that's the way I would judge this card. How many ways can we interact with a Storm deck that tries to go for it on turn 2? Because this could go for it on turn 2. Easily, on the play. Stormscale Scion, Storm decks would go crazy for this. What the hell is this? Stormscale Scion. Sounds like a dragon. It is a dragon. 6 mana for a 4/4 flyer. Other dragons you control get +1/+1 and Storm. Oh! Oh!
No, God, please, no!
That's what you guys mean. I see. Now I understand the 2 Desperate Rituals. Into the Stormscale Scion. Your move, opponent! What are you going to do about this? Yeah, this is like the new Empty the Warrens. What the hell? We don't see... Why do we not see this card see play? Flying other dragons you control. Okay, I guess the problem is it doesn't win on the spot. That's the ultimate problem with that card. Still a strong card. I think we should just keep all the Solitaire cards banned out of Principle. Null Elemental Blast... I don't think it hits anything. Because Null Elemental Blast hits colorless cards, right? I think? Oh, no. Or is it gold cards? Null Elemental Blast. I don't remember what this card does. Counter target multicolor spell, destroy target multicolor permanent. Yeah, so it would not interact with Storm at all. It's funny, your guys are like, Stormscale Scion will go crazy with this. Yet there is not a single Stormscale Scion deck in existence. They don't exist. You'd have to make it. You'd have to prove it. Toilet Duck says, funny story. If you get a whole bunch of Stormscale Scion on the battlefield, the +1/+1 abilities stack. It's a lord! Of course they stack. Okay, so I'd be inclined to say that this is still a little too powerful for Modern, based on what everyone said. Although I'm really struggling to figure out. Oh, there is one big difference between. There is one slight difference actually between Legacy and Modern, and that is soul lands exist in Legacy, like Ancient Tomb, City of Traders, so people can play like turn 1, Damping Sphere, for example. So like turn 1 Damping Sphere is a thing. Turn 1, like there's a lot more combo hate cards at 2 mana that would, you know, make a combo player big sad. Whereas in Modern, we do have now Soul Lands in Modern for the Eldrazi decks, but not everyone has access to those. Leyline of the Void, actually, yeah, that's a good one, actually. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Put a lot more pressure on people. That's true. Trinisphere is also a card. That would make things slightly complicated on the Storm player, although I think Damping Sphere does probably a better job in the long run because they have to chain so many cards together. Okay, Seething Song. Too strong. Too strong. I like this card. Sensei's Divining Top. It's a 1-mana artifact, pay 1, look at the top 3 cards of your library, then put them back in any order. Tap, draw a card, then put Sensei's Divining Top on top of its owner's library. Now, I don't believe the argument that Ponder is wasting too much time in a tournament. I think the decision is not that long, and whatever, shuffling is not that big of a deal. I will admit this wastes a lot more time because you can do this as many times as you want. You can do this like, okay, we gotta look at the top 3 cards of my deck on my turn, or we might even have to do it at my upkeep. And then I find a land, shuffle, then I gotta do it again. And then you play a bunch of cards, and okay, I gotta look at the top 3 cards of my deck again because you know what? Circumstances have changed. Do I want to change the way my cards are on top of my deck? So this wastes way more time. Oh, Rule of Law. Rule of Law is not good enough on the draw on turn 1. You'll never be able to play that thing on turn 1. Yes, F Civ says, speaking of things that make games take forever. Steve Cooper, I love wasting time. Are you a Lantern player, Steve Cooper? You big Lantern player out there? Key band reason. Boring. Yeah, I don't think Sensei Divining Top is a very boring card. Like maybe the game, I think even when watching people play with Sensei's Divining Top, it can be really tense because like, did they find the card that they need? What did they leave on top? Is it a miracle card? And make no mistake, like those miracle decks were pretty good, but they are stone cold useless and dead without Sensei's Divining Top. They completely depend on it. Now, remember, Sensei Divining Top was banned at the time. I don't think for wasting time in tournaments, because then they would have just axed it in Legacy. It was legal in Legacy for years. I'm not certain about this. I don't know the exact history to Sensei's Divining Top in Modern, but I think they banned it for power level. Because like that's a Modern power level deck. It was really strong at the time. Sorry, it was a Legacy power level deck. It was really strong at the time. So they're like, okay, we're axing this thing to give all the creature-based decks a chance. It was a very creature-based format at the time. No, look at the top 3, then shuffle. Look at the top 3. Yep, exactly. That is the play pattern. But you have to be you gotta be somewhat fast. Toilet Duck, fun thing to do. Actual not fun guaranteed. Put this in a Shahrazad deck to waste even more time. Oh no. Miracle Shahrazad. What do you know? Hey Bandas, welcome. I may took out top from my Urza deck for the time wasting. Huh? Urtigo says, those decks need a miracle to bounce back without senseis. They've seen a little bit of play. Like, I'm not going to say, like, the Terminus Miracle decks have seen 0 play, but they're like, way more fringe. Like, if you got a bunch of Terminuses in your hand, you're screwed. You're just screwed. And I think they have... Since Modern is becoming less and less of a creature-based format, I shouldn't say that. It's still somewhat creature-based. But there's a lot of combo decks, and Terminus is like really bad versus those decks. So it's just like a dead card. Simple Miracle Enabler. That was the point. Steve Cooper says, I'm joking. I took out top for wasting time in my Urza deck. Oh, you have an Urza deck too? Actually, I don't have an Urza deck yet, but I want one. I want an Urza deck. I think Urza is so cool. I wouldn't mind betraying Merfolk for an Urza deck if it existed. Someone make an Urza deck, or maybe I have to make the Urza deck. Maybe that's what I gotta do. Pavno says, Sensei's Divining Top comes with its own host of issues that center around the timely conclusion of matches in a tournament setting. The card slows down match play and leads to tournament delays. Did they say that for Modern or Legacy? hold on, let's see. Sensei's Divining Top Band Modern. B and R announcement. Because I like what you're describing. It sounds what they said for Legacy. Oh, that was Legacy, exactly. See, I believe when they gave the birth to the birth of Modern, nothing. I think nothing was banned. Nothing. They just like anything goes. Do it. And then after that, they just banned the crap out of a bunch of cards just for out of caution. So they just banned tons of stuff. And Sensei's Divining Top just ended up being on that banned list for like for the reason of it's probably too strong. But they're not even sure. It was just lumped in there. Rodham says Urza was so nice when both Opal and Astrolabe were legal. Maybe it's still good. No one's trying hard enough. I believe. Nolan says you chronicle you making an Urza deck on a YouTube video. That's a good idea. Ooh, that's tempting. I brought the most broken. I brought a banned deck back to being broken. Sounds like a great title. Christopher B. Does anyone besides me even remember Golden Tail, the eponymous owner of the top? What the hell is that? Toilet Duck says, for even more fun, put in Archaeomancer plus the Eternal Wanderer deck to keep getting cards back to recast them. I don't think that card is that combo would work too well in Modern. Modern's a little too powerful for that combo. Archaeomancer is like a really clunky card. It's funny how some cards which are just legitimate in like Commander, just outstandingly garbage when it comes to Modern. Modern started with a banned list. Well, how many cards were on it? Not that many. I know the first Modern Pro Tour was like anything goes. They had Blazing Shoal made the top 8 for crying out loud. This was in a top 8 deck. I believe Cloud Post was also in a top 8 deck. It was the most unhinged top 8 of all time. Ever. I don't remember the OG band list. Okay, Sensei Divining Top. I think it would be fine. Like but power level wise, I think it's fine. But of course, you know, it's probably never coming back for the same reasons it's never coming back in Legacy. It just wastes too much time in tournaments. I wonder, could you bring it back in Pioneer because they don't have fetch lands? Could it come back in a format that doesn't have too many shuffle effects? Maybe it's possible. All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me, having this great discussion. I really appreciate everyone's opinions on the Modern format. As usual, we do this show weekdays, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Be there or be square. Thank you for being here. And also, we have to thank the supporters of the show, the patrons on Patreon, the members on YouTube, or the super chatters who are part of the show or even help let other people be part of the show. And of course, thank you so much, Coffee Crew, for being here today. People like Argentina, Pabno, Little Deadfly, Toads. We got Grave Rune, Benjamin Berkey, Bob Talks Bridge, Steve Cooper, and many more. So as usual, my Coffee Crew, keep bringing those coffees. We're going to keep bringing up the magic. Take care of yourselves. And I will see you at the next cup.